Hey guys, I'm doing something a little different. I notice when I watch other people's videos that they always kind of have like good lighting and a nice background, and I never have any of that, so yeah. I decided to change things up a little bit. I'm doing it in my bedroom where I have these little lights stranded. They do that in a lot of videos apparently. It's like, okay, this would be a good place, so let's start here. I wanted to do something that's been on my mind the last few days is, what am I doing with my life? You don't know, when I was 18, I went to a community college for about a year. I started to work on my degree, but I was really struggling with money. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and I'd never been interested in cosmetology or doing hair before, except my own hair. I decided I'd go to school for cosmetology because I thought if I could get a better paying job, more than minimum wage, then I could pay my way through school and do the job that I always wanted to do. I dropped out of community college and I went to school for cosmetology, and I planned on going there for a year. I hated it. I hated it so much. I couldn't do it anymore. It just seemed petty, and I felt like I was wasting my time. I was wasting my money, and I didn't know why I had decided to do that. I was young and I made a rash decision, and now I'm paying for it. Then about a year later, my husband joined the military, and then we had our son. I was like, I've got to go back to school. I never imagined myself as a person who didn't have an education. Not that I'm condemning anyone who doesn't have an education, but I just always really liked school. Well, I didn't like school, but I liked learning. I just wanted to learn as much as I could. But at the same time, I had a family, and I felt like, I really needed to be where the money was. So then I went back to school. I took classes online, and I got my degree in health science, and I thought I could be a nurse or maybe an ultrasound tech, which I could still do. I'm still considering. Then again, what am I doing with my life? Stayed at home with my son for 4 years. My daughter is about to turn 3, and within that time frame I've been taking classes online. I got my degree last year. I thought I was finished, and then I realized, after going to hospitals or going back to these schools and looking at what these people are doing, I realized this is not what I want to do. It kind of sucks because I applied for jobs. I applied for hundreds of jobs, and even with my degree I could not land a job. In the last couple of years, I feel like I've had this awakening. I feel like I've really grown into myself. I've really realized who I am, and it was always there. I mean, I always knew, but I never considered my interests or hobbies as a career. I never thought it was something that I could do that would earn money. So I just never considered going to school for it. It was always like I had two options. I could either do something like do hair, or I could go into the health field because that's where the money is. That's what's growing currently. That was my best option. That's what I started to do. But then when it was all said and done and I had finished everything and it was time to get a job, I realized that that's not at all what I'm meant to do. I'm not meant to be in the health field. It makes me uncomfortable, and I'm very introverted, and I like to do my own thing. I don't like to work in an environment where I have to depend on other people to keep everyone else afloat. I want to do something that's kind of self-motivated, where I'm kind of my own boss, I'm kind of my own leader. And there's only been 3 things that I've completely maintained my entire life that I've always been interested in, and like I said, I never considered as a career. One, that was writing. I've always been a writer. I started writing short stories and kids' books when I was just a little girl. I remember sitting in class and just writing down short stories, and I never showed them to anyone because I was really shy, and I was really afraid of what people would think, what they thought about what I had written. They would just think it was silly or something. And then when I got in high school, I started writing music. I was like a very depressed teenager. I had a lot of anxiety and stuff, So I would cope with that by writing songs. And I had a friend who actually got into my journal one time, and it really made me mad. I was like, please don't read that. But he read it and he's like, this is actually really good. Like, you know, he was prepared to like tease me and stuff, but he was like, no, this is really good. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school and 2 semesters of Spanish in college. Although Spanish wasn't really my favorite language, I realized that I really liked the class and I really liked learning languages. And it kind of went hand in hand with my other interests because, first of all, writing, I mean, you know, I love English, I love writing. I've always wanted to travel and I've always been interested in cultures. So then I realized, you know what, I've always really wanted to learn French. So I took it upon myself to start learning French. And a couple of years later, here I am now. I think that I've gotten to a pretty good level. I could probably go to France and have a conversation, or Quebec, or certain places in Africa or wherever. I think I could probably pick it up and have a conversation. I could probably find my way around. I can definitely read some books. I can watch most movies without subtitles. That's all really great. But what I really want to do is, what I found lately is that I think that I want to teach English. And I found that you might have to go back to school for that. And so I was getting really down on myself. And I was like, you know, I just can't afford to go back to school. I mean, I'm already $30,000 in student debt. That just wasn't an option for me. Then I talked to my cousin who teaches English in South Korea. And she was giving me all these directions, kind of pushing me in the right direction to do what she does. And so now I feel like I have all these options, and I currently just signed up to go volunteer to teach English to immigrants who just moved here. I live very close to Washington, D.C., so we have a lot of embassies, you know, and a lot of people who come in and they don't speak English very well. So yeah, there's my start, and I'm really excited about it because, like I said, I feel like I've just, you know, gotten this new awakening. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I was always supposed to do, and I never knew it. My cousin advised me that I watched Flight of the Hummingbird yesterday by Elizabeth Gilbert. And it's not a movie, it's just kind of a self-help speech kind of thing. If you don't know who Elizabeth Gilbert is, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love. I'm sure you've heard of it. She said that there's 2 people in the world. You're either a jackhammer or you're a hummingbird. And I asked my cousin, I said, can I be both? Because a hummingbird is someone who takes flight and they kind of float around and try to find what they really like. And that's what I did for a while. But now I feel like I'm kind of a jackhammer. Like, once I find something that I love, I just dive right into it. I'm like, I've got to do it. I know what I want. I've got to do it. And so I feel like I'm both a jackhammer and a hummingbird because I do have so many interests, so many things that I'm extremely passionate about. There's nothing that's stuck. There's nothing that said, hey, this is your career. You need to just go get it, go after it. And of course, I mean, I've written like 3 whole books, you know, 100,000 words in my first book. And I never did anything with it because I didn't feel like it was good enough to publish. But the book I'm writing now, I feel like this is my side job. This is what I'm doing for myself. And then my second interest is languages, so I can teach English. That's where my money is at. That's my career, you know. So I'm just now starting to find that you can do what you are passionate about. You can do what you really love. If you have a passion, I do think that you should try and go after it. Don't be impatient. Don't rush. Really take your time and map out everything, every goal. Do everything that you intended to do, but just make sure you're doing it the right way and you're not rushing into it, because I did that and it didn't work out for me. I mean, I'm $30,000 in debt, like I said, and I've been to 3 different schools and I've pretty much gotten nothing out of it. Especially here in the United States, school is so expensive. It costs so much money, and then you're in debt for years, maybe even your entire life. So please, if you're in high school and you're thinking about doing something just because it makes money, please don't do that. Do something that you really like, but just make sure that you're really taking the time to plan out what you really want to do. Don't rush it, because that's a big mistake and you're going to regret it later on in life. So I just wanted to say to you guys that you can all follow your goals, you can follow your heart, you can do what you're passionate about, but just stay focused, have patience, and work hard. Yeah. Bye.